Good afternoon, little flock. It is October something. I think it's the 18th, right? Hey Siri, what's the date?
It's Thursday, October
Whoa.
17th,
Whoa.
2024.
I swear to God, it has been October the 17th for 4 days. Hello, this is Randy Richards. This video is going to be all over the place. I bail out now. Pardon me. Bail out now if you can't take a long off-road trip. But I can promise you this scenery, as always, is something you hadn't seen before. As to my eyes as well. And I've never seen it. I've seen it added on. And I'm pretty much talking about the scenery. When I say scenery, it's where the trip I've been on since my arrival in the Magnetar Pulse on 12/27/04. 300,000 people gave their lives that day from a star pulse. You imagine the news reporting, and they did report on the star pulse, by the way. A magnetar is a big neutron star, and if you have followed any of my rantings, or as Mozart called it, scribbling and dibbling. It's already finished in my head. Yeah. The rest was just scribbling and dibbling. But if you followed any of that, then okay. Hold on a second. I got too many things going off. Too much EMF. Hey, by the way, don't freaking hold the phone to your head when you're talking. Seriously, if you do, don't. Okay, I'll just put it that way. I got told I sounded a little bit like Matthew McConaughey the other day. I guess that's all right. And I went there in my head because I said something, and to myself, it's like I was hearing Matthew McConaughey. So that's why I remembered that. It was at a farmer's market here in Dallas, Texas. Best brisket ever. But I gotta stop eating meat. Ugh, jeez. That sucks. Because I have to have a lot of calories. Because my metabolism is not of your nature. Okay, and that's really true. And I can't wear glasses because I don't have the concavity of a human. I've got the concavity of a feline. And that's also true. That's what an optometrist told me. That's why he couldn't fit me for glasses, to see at night, to drive, or walk, or whatever, but basically to drive at night. He says, nah, man, he pulls down a screen of a cat's concavity of the lens, and he pulls my image, and it overlays perfectly. And he was an Asian dude, and he was funny. And he said, see, you a cat. And I'm like, great. Because I had been getting, how do you say this without sounding like you're completely on drugs or crazy, or both? By the way, everything, it's not funny. Well, it is funny. It absolutely is funny because it's the public's perception of this and how they judge this and how freaking wrong they were. That's the funny part. Because I know every generation has known of someone that wore a helmet. Remember that kid? Or, excuse me, remember that adult? Let's not even talk about the children. I mean, because they didn't choose to wear the helmet. No, I'm talking about adults that wore helmets. You remember that? Helmets. And you would laugh. If you were nice, you wouldn't laugh a lot. But I don't care how nice you were. You'd laugh a little bit. And then some would get ugly about it. That's the other bloodline. And the strange thing is that we're still attached, and that's why Jesus says, I come to bring a sword, because what does a sword do? Divides. Anyway, back to my helmet story. If it comes out of my mouth like that, I got to roll with it. I don't have to, but it's the only passion that's worth pursuing for me, in my opinion. Okay, let me finish this helmet story before I forget, because I got something else I got to tell you right now. But yeah. Turns out the person in the freaking helmet knew exactly what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's right in your face. The word government is in your face. They tell you, we are your government. They can't lie to you, so they tell you, we're your government. The etymology of words from the Greek or the Latin or even the Sumerian cuneiform or Akkadian, I mean, you can take it way back. But try to get the origin of the word, and in this age of technology, which is, and I called this in 1998, I told the person that I was with at that time, I said, you know what this is? This is the second, no, I'm sorry, it's 1996. I said, this is the second Tower of Babel. Yeah, I knew it. And then Google comes out with a translator called Babelfish. You remember that? Remember that? This was before the GUI, which is an acronym for Graphic User Interface, WWW, which can be translated as 666. I don't even know that I know the correct way to translate that. Something about the Jewish numbers, letters, something like that. I don't know. Maybe not. But I do know that there is a way. It could be gematria that comes out with that 666. I don't know. That would be kind of lame, though, because to me, gematria gives a lot of results. So I think there's a better way that WWW actually stands for 666. Somebody smarter than me, let me know what that is in the comments below. You know, never mind. Never mind. This is just why I can't do YouTube, man. I mean, if the views come, fine, but anyway, I'm going to say what I'm told to say. Yeah, basically. Helmet heads were smart. Because the word govern, to control. And the word mint is from the Latin mente, mente. M-E-N-T-E. Mint. Could be, I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's M-E-N-T-E, mente. And it's Latin. And it means mind. That's its definition. That's the core definition of the word M-E-N-T, mint. Government. To control the mind. I mean, it's right in your face. And I know that could be old information to a lot of you. Maybe to some of you it's not. So why are you going to believe anything? God. I told you it's going to be scenic. I told you. Now, here's the deal about the election. Check this out. This is a theory of rock star preacher. For entertainment purposes only. But that's a lie. And I can't say that in my videos, so YouTube, don't pay me a dime. I'm not asking for nothing. This is not for entertainment purposes. This is to save your soul. Sound like a preacher. Well, I guess it is. I was given this crazy light, knowledge. I guess because I was crazy enough to talk about it. In fact, I know that's why. Yep. And then he gave me certain gifts to to deliver it. And then I started studying his prophets, and they were all crazy. I resonate the most with, I believe, Elijah. I had one brother tell me, "Brother, I think you're Elijah come back." I'm like, well, that's nice. I mean, it's a compliment, but that's what happens. The truth will, everybody will know the truth. So with the second day Tower of Babel, God allowed it. Boom, here comes the internet. Made by CERN is, I'm speaking to the choir, preaching to the choir. Mostly here, I know that. But just in the off chance that there's some person over in Helsinki who hears this, I'll keep talking. But yeah, CERN made it like in the 60s, early 60s, late 50s. It's for the military. CERN, military. So that's what the internet was made for communications after everything else hits the fan, which they know will happen because they know the end of the ages. Because they have studied the old prophecies, which are currently locked up in the Vatican's restricted library, however, can be found and in my opinion, as reputable as sources as any that you can get from the Native Americans, from the Incans, from the indigenous people from long, long ago. Look at their stories. I'm not talking about one of salvation. I'm talking about what's coming. Yeah. One of salvation came out of Nazareth. That's the only one that left any blood here. The life is in the blood. Ain't nobody else leave no blood here. Ergo, nobody else opened a door that no man can shut. Now, why would somebody leave you a door that nobody can shut? Not even you. That nobody means you. It's open. But you got to do something. You got to walk through it. You're like, why would I want to walk through a door? Well, here's a good reason. When you want to leave someplace. And brother, sister, you're going to want to leave this place. Sounds kind of doomsday, doesn't it? But it's not. It's actually celebratory. If you say it's doomsday, you're not a believer. That's as simple as that. And that's cool. It's not a judgment. I mean, if you're not a believer, I hope you can become a believer in the truth of Jesus Christ, not religion. Jesus was crucified for contradicting religion. Why would I follow religion? The guy that I follow was an outlaw, the original anarchist. Well, if you don't think he was, I just wrote a piece on why Jesus actually spat into the clay to heal the blind man that has been taught wrong since it's been written, in my opinion, and what has been given to me. Okay, number one, this is Jesus we're talking about, right? You think he has to spit in the clay and get some kind of prop to make a man see when he can take a leprosy and just touch him and he's healed? Or you can take someone with a palsy, whatever that is. These old diseases, I have no idea. I think they're named kind of funny, but it's not funny. But he tells the man with the palsy, get up and get to your house. And the man, he didn't even touch him. Okay, so why all of a sudden does he need to spit in the clay, make all this clay and put it in his eyes, do all these ritual stuff? Because that's not why he spit in the clay. Jesus was slick. And this was on the Sabbath, by the way. And there were some Pharisees standing really close, by the way. So he saw the opportunity. There's a blind man sitting there begging. The Pharisees were around. And it wasn't even depicted right in the movie. I don't know if anybody got this, but I'm going to tell you right now why Jesus spit in the clay. Yes, it was to heal the blind man, of course. But that's not what healed the blind man. Jesus healed the blind man. Jesus says, see, you see. Because Jesus doesn't have duality, so his vibration is high enough to change matter. And if we want to go to a physics level, a quantum level, we can do that too. If you've read my writings, you've probably read some of that because that's what he gave me. when he blew my mind and showed me that every molecule had a subatomic particle in it that had a vibration, and that vibration was variable. It changed. Well, why did it change was my first question. And I was shown. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. This stuff is crazy. I say, if you take science, you could probably prove the existence of God. That is why the Roman Catholic Church separated church from science. Now, there's going to be some new stuff coming along. It's going to bring those back together. In fact, it's already here. Because Satan ain't stupid. The brightest angel in heaven, which means probably the smartest. You hear illumination, that's usually referring to knowledge. So if he's the smartest, you think he's going to be walking in here looking all red and angry? People are going to welcome him in with thunderous applause. And he might be coming in a couple of weeks. But that's yet to be written. We'll see what happens. But I'll tell you this. You can write this down. I guess the video will just stay out there. So here's a record of it. Look up any plague you want to look up. And then go a couple of months in advance of that plague, 2 or 3 months. And you'll see a comet flew through our solar system. Black plague, bubonic plague. And I know they told you something else, but I'm telling you, Spanish flu, all of them were preceded by a comet because their tails are poisonous, very poisonous. Cyanide, carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide. And if you fly through a tail, which you will if it's big enough, and most of them have been, well, that's going to get in your water, and it's going to create a mist, and it's going to come in from to the mainland from clouds, from the ocean, and everybody's going to be more or less poisoned. And if you tell somebody that now, they'll look at you like you're completely crazy. Believe me, I can attest to that for 15 years. But if you look at Byzantine artwork and every depiction of Christ, Byzantine religious artwork, go Google that and have your mind blown. Because these paintings are hanging in museums. These aren't websites. These aren't AI. These are hanging in museums. Like paintings from 1100, 900 AD. And all you see is UFOs in the sky. I mean, seriously, spaceships. Easily recognizable spaceships. Go look at it. Byzantine religious artwork. And they'll tell you what museum that it's in. The Annunciation, is that the word? Emancipation, something like that, of Mary. And she's leaning out of this little apartment window. But up in the sky is a UFO. And it's beaming a beam to the crown of her head. Now, this was painted in 1100 AD. It's incredible, but true. So, comets are really significant. And in Byzantine artwork, if you look inside, and you don't have to even stretch to think that might be a comet. No, it's painted exactly like a freaking comet with the tail and everything. But inside, in the Byzantine depictions, you'll see little beams manipulating and driving these things. They're under intelligent command, basically. So this is what Hippocrates said 4,000 years ago. And nobody, well, I said that earlier today to a guy I was in conversation with. I said, and nobody thought him crazy. And then I heard in my head, oh, yes, they did. Yeah, I think they thought Hippocrates was kind of crazy. But we know now how wrong that was. And what he said was, comets are like vile stars. Vile is defined as morally bad. Men lament their coming, for they bring pestilence and plagues. Thanks, Hippocrates, because that's what just happened in 2019. And we won't go down that road, but there's a lot of comments out there again. They're harbingers. We have an election in 2 weeks. I'll tell you something about that president. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win. I will tell you that it will be your last president. Because in 2028, there will be a national emergency declared worldwide. And at that point, administrations don't change. Everything locks down. Because the God of chaos is coming. The destroyer of worlds is coming. Apophis. In 2029. Now, I knew that 30-something years ago. And I saw the stats from the NASA page. 1,500 miles wide. Biggest Texas, Mr. President. You heard that in the movie. She's what's known as a global killer. Not even bacteria would survive. But I know. Also, it said name Apophis. Chance of impact 100%. That's what I saw. On the near-Earth object NASA message board back in 1998, something like that, before WWW. We had a 14.4 modem and message boards. I actually talked to John Teeter, for those who know that story of that time traveler. That's never been debunked. And it was all through forums. It was kind of crazy. Yes, and every domain was available, and I didn't get a one of them. And Bitcoin was $400. But anyway, or I guess I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now. Well, I'd be doing something crazy if I lived this long. My father showed me wine one time. I asked him, I said, hey, you know what? I should be really, really rich. He said, and I said, I should be, out there in the normal society, just be normal. And all of a sudden he said, I'm going to show you something. And no, I didn't hear that. I just felt that in my head. I'm not hearing voices. But no, I was compelled. Let me show you something. And it was me. And I was like taken way out in space to where I could see the world. The whole world. And you know what I noticed about it? There was a sheet of glass in front of it. I couldn't get to it. And I knew that there was a sheet of glass, clear glass, because I saw a reflection in it to my left. And that reflection was Jesus, smiling. And I heard, I have separated you. Years before that, I'd asked him why you call the Holy Spirit, Holy Ghost, why do you call it holy? He said, do you know what holy means? I said, no. He said, go look it up. I looked it up. It means set apart. I said, you set me apart. That was as real as me talking to you now. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'll take that. Yeah. Continue the separation. Because I believe in coming out of her, lest she suffer her fate. And it ain't going to be pretty. But see, that's what I was telling you about earlier. If you believe one side of the prophecies, then you must believe the other side. You can't be a believer and be all doomy. I mean, if a truck was about to hit you, would you tell your about to hit your friend? Would you tell her, hey, you better get hit by a truck? Are you a doomsayer then? And she looks at you and goes, I don't hear no truck. I don't think no truck's coming, but you can see it. You can hear it. Because maybe you can hear it better than she can. Comes down to faith of your friend, I guess. That's a weird analogy, but you get what I'm saying. You either believe it or you don't. And that would be lukewarm. Unless you're just a full-on Luciferian Satanist. I mean, at least they believe in that. That's their bloodline. the architect of this world, the owner of everything you see and are in right now, is his. The enemies. Because he told Jesus, you see all this? I can give it all to you because it has all been given to me. How about that? So when you're looking at the election, I see a double-headed snake. Maybe it's a macro view, and I have not voted and will not ever vote, and I get chastised for that. That's weird. That's supposed to be our right? Isn't it my right not to vote? Because kingdoms will not change until men change. And I know until that star, the new sun of righteousness, blast the magnetite off your pineal gland, freeing your light, restarting your genome sequence to 100% instead of its current 3%. And all of a sudden you see all the spectrums like a cat because of the concavity of the lens. And your stall will be unlocked. That's what it says in Malachi 4:2. And he led me right to it after he showed me everything about a neutron star for some weird reason. And I mean, just on the internet. Boom, boom, but they would all make connections to where you stop. And maybe you have to be sensitive to that. I don't know. Maybe not everybody gets that. I can pretty much assure you that. But perhaps ignorance. I will never say that ignorance was blissful. No. Well, the thing is, you can't ever go back. Yeah, and I know why. And this is another thing that hadn't been preached right, in my opinion. Oh, the way to me is I don't want to be disrespectful, but I'm hearing people say it in my head. But Jesus said, mine is a narrow path. And to me, that means not a lot of people walk down it. That's what I used to think. Well, then I saw billions of Catholics and millions of Christians, Protestants, Muslims, Hindi, whatever, Zoroastrian. And look, I know narrow path to me. Then I got it, then it was given to me. It's called the narrow path because what can you not do on a narrow path? You can't turn around. The only way off is to jump. And that is rejecting the path. The only unforgivable sin. So once you're on it, well, you might as well shine, right? I mean, seriously, you're not going back. You really want to jump, but I don't want that fate. You'll get another chance, though. But they'll have to cut your head off. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. Because there's no other way to separate you from that reanimating pineal gland that's firing off like crazy because the neutron star is sending this electromagnetic gamma rays to change your DNA. Yeah, with no magnetosphere to stop it. Because when I come back, it shall be like the lightning that flashes from the east to the west. And last time I checked, that's the entire sky. The whole sky will light up at his return. But that's just fables, right? And when you see one part of that book coming true, lift up your head and believe that the other part's going to come true. And I am tired of talking. Anyway, it is the 17th of October, around 3:39 down in Dallas, Texas. I'm going to go ahead and upload this. I have no idea what I'm going to title it. Full Moon Rant. There you go, baby. You guys love God, love each other.